7. Barrett outside, the switch. Taj Gibson goes, oh, what a great stop! And then he hammers it home. Broke his ankles.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are doing well. I decided to not show my ugly face for like a video. You guys might have two videos today. I'm literally filming this at 1:25 in the morning. If I'm in the mood, I might film another video, and by the time I'm filming that, after editing this, it's probably gonna be 2 in the morning. But most likely this video will be up at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I really appreciate the great amount of support. You guys are absolutely amazing. So today I'm really going to be breaking down New York Knicks players that are set to hit the free agency market. And I don't think a lot of Knicks fans take a look at. A lot of high impact guys that helped us get to the playoffs are set to be free agents. They may not be here next year. They may not be here when it comes to this following season, like a big time chunk of this roster. So a lot of people are like, how do you think the Knicks will be next season, or what are your predictions? I literally can't say that. Free agency hasn't happened. The draft hasn't happened. Like, a big majority of our players that helped us get to the playoffs are free agents. You can say that with the Clippers as well. Reggie Jackson, a guy of Nicholas Batum. They have some big time players that helped them in the playoffs that are set to be free agents. You know, Mitch and Randall. Like, Mitch is going to get his option picked up. Randall, you take a look at him, I only see him end up hitting the open market if we like decline his team option and then we give him the max contract. But I do think that's only gonna happen when it comes. He's gonna end up getting the max contract next offseason if he does go on to improve his play in the playoffs. But let's get there first. I would like to see him prove himself for one more year, but I do think we're gonna pick up Randall's option. Same thing with Mitchell Robinson. I do think that's smart to do. So I just got that out of the way. There's not much to talk about when it really comes to that. But I really got to give credit to a Scott Perry. I got to give credit to a Leon Rose. Yes, we didn't make any sexy move the last offseason, but they were smart moves, like reasonable contracts to like solid players out there. And you could say Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel really surpassed expectations of their one-year contracts, and they ended up being impactful guys or impactful players for a playoff team that we really did not expect this past off season. So we're going to be breaking down these guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, be free to smash the like button and click that subscribe button for more content. Let's get right into it, yo. Starting off with Frank Ntilikina, I definitely do think he's the odd man out when you really think about it. We're bringing in Luka Vildoza, quickly could play point guard. We might bring back Derrick Rose, and we do have to solve the point guard issue when it comes to this upcoming season, or just longevity-wise, and that might be addressed in free agency or in the draft. And he wasn't even playing this past season. The only way he played is when someone went down with an injury, and Frank Ntilikina even had some injury issues of his own, not really consistently playing like every season. He's always had this stretch of games that he was out with an injury, specifically a groin injury, and that's something that's not really talked about. We could talk about the inconsistencies offensively, but this is also someone that has gone down with injuries. I understand the little things he brings to the table, key deflections, he's a team-first guy, solid on-ball defender, but he's just been so atrocious offensively and extremely raw that it's just not good enough to have him out there on the basketball court. You don't know what kind of Frank you're getting. One game he's going to be extremely aggressive. Another game he's just not going to be aggressive out there on the court. They've like changed his role from a point guard to a shooting guard, playing off the ball. He picks up his dribble too early, no dribble penetration. You just never know what you're going to get with Frank, and it's his 4th year in the league, and it looks like the New York Knicks organization has really given up on him. And there's some things that Frank could have done better, and then there's some things the Knicks organization could have done better. We could talk about why did Moutier start over him, Trey Burke, Jarrett Jack, all these big time names, or just names that we've had at the point guard position, such as a Dennis Smith Jr., but there's reasons why Frank Ntilikina has not started at the point guard position, and I don't see the point of bringing him back. He doesn't really play any big-time role, leadership role. Like, he's not a vocal leader, he's not a veteran, so I don't see the point of really bringing him back on even more money that he was being paid this past season, I believe. But I do think he should go to a smaller market team with less pressure on him. Maybe he could have this type of role that he does a little bit of everything in a way. Like, he does play hard out there. He is someone that gets key deflections at times. He's a solid on-ball defender, and he's a team-first guy. So maybe he can be in a lesser type of role that people expect less from him, like on a team like the San Antonio Spurs or a team like the Sacramento Kings that do need defense. But we'll see what goes on to happen with Frank, and I wish him the best of luck. Hasn't really worked out in a New York Knicks uniform. He has shown flashes, but he's never really put together consistency. And even with a bunch of coaches like a Jeff Hornacek, Mike Miller, David Fizdale, Tom Thibodeau, no coach has really believed in him, but he definitely does have a lot of things to work on, and I wish him the best of luck, but I do not think we are going to bring him back. Moving on to Derrick Rose. This one's actually really tough for me because I do want to see Derrick Rose go on to win an NBA championship or have a chance of winning one. He hasn't really had a shot to win one in his NBA career. It looked like the Bulls were maybe on pace of winning one, went down with a terrible injury, and he's just gone through a lot of adversity in his life and even on the basketball court, so I would definitely like to see him win a championship and be successful in any role that he's on, if it's just helping out the young guys, just being a good leader out there on the court, or just being a nice six-man, because I do think he's at the point in his career that he can't really necessarily start due to his injury history, and we saw what went on to happen when Thibodeau did give him a lot of minutes in the playoffs. He just looks absolutely gassed, and I don't think he doesn't have great conditioning. It's just when you've been through so many injuries and you're getting older, your body could only keep up with so much. But Derrick Rose brought great productivity, great leadership to the locker room, helped out Obi Toppin, looked very good with Obi Toppin out there on the court. When it came to the second unit, I don't think he's good enough to start, but I would absolutely he's good enough to start, but there's the concerns. You don't want to wear him down and cause him to have another injury. But on the right contract, I would definitely love to have Derrick Rose back, but I completely understand if he goes to a championship contender like the Lakers or the Clippers. Those teams need point guards. Dennis Schroeder might leave, and a guy, Reggie Jackson, might leave in free agency for a bigger type of contract. Now moving on to Reggie Bullock, I would bring back Reggie Bullock as a bench piece, but I don't necessarily think he's that starter. He's really stationary, he's really one-dimensional, he's not really versatile at all, and I do think we need more of a versatile type of player out there on the court that could really create his own shot. This isn't someone that can dribble penetrate, he's not really going to play make, he's a catch-and-shoot guy. He can't really create off the dribble at all. He doesn't have an insane handle. I do understand what he brings to the table. He's a good 3-and-D guy. At least he's an inconsistent shooter of the basketball. Started off the season not shooting it well. The second half of the season, he shot it really well from downtown. Gave us some big-time moments like up against the New Orleans Pelicans. Descended to overtime after hitting a big-time clutch shot, but it was a miscommunication on Lonzo Ball's part. Should have closed out. But Bullock's someone that could provide some good defense. He's a good leader. He definitely is a competitor out there on the court, but I do think we need more of a shot creator that's more versatile, because he's not someone that's really going to attack the basket or kill you with some step back three. Yes, he can create separation with a pump fake, but at the least I would bring him back as a bench piece, on the right contract. But I do think he'll definitely try to command or try to get some type of money, because he had a pretty solid role as a starter on a team that went to the playoffs, like the New York Knicks, that haven't gone to the playoffs in such a long time. Moving on to Alec Burks. Alec Burks is really interesting because he's played for a lot of teams in his NBA career, such as the Sixers, the Warriors, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Sacramento Kings, but he's never been able to really find a home, and he was a key contributor to the New York Knicks. He might be trying to look for that bag out there, but he is someone that can create his own shot, and a team that's in the playoffs trying to compete for a championship, like the Lakers, that might be looking for depth, or any playoff team out there, such as the Philadelphia 76ers that really struggled with the bench this past season, that need more shot creation, might be looking to bring him back. But I wouldn't bring him back as a starter. I think there is inconsistency issues. I do think we need someone that's more of a team player and has a more all-around game to bring off the bench. But on the right contract, I wouldn't mind bringing back Alec Burks. Now, moving on to Taj Gibson. This is interesting because he may go on to retire. He is getting older, but he looked very good, or he looked good for his age out there on the court. He looked very well conditioned. He did the little things, getting some big-time deflections, is really communicating out there on the court. He doesn't really provide much offensively because he is a million years old. This isn't prime Taj Gibson back with the Chicago Bulls days. But I appreciate what he's done, really switching up his position, going from the power forward slot to playing center. The last couple seasons for the New York Knicks, we brought him in. We didn't have him at the beginning of the season, but we brought him in. He fit like a glove, like reuniting back with Tom Thibodeau. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being like a trainer for the New York Knicks in the future, but I really don't understand the point of bringing back Taj Gibson. Like, yes, maybe for some veteran leadership, maybe like a Nick Collison type or a Udonis Haslem. I would actually like that under Tom Thibodeau when he's here, just to be there, bring that presence and leadership. He just brings that grit and grind mentality, and he's just all business. I love that about Taj Gibson, but he's proven to still be a very solid defensive player and get key deflections for someone that is older, but I really don't think it's the best to really bring him back. He is older. I don't see him here moving forward, but if it's on another like cheap contract as a guy that's like Udonis Haslem, Nick Collison, I wouldn't mind it. Now moving on to Pinson. See, Pinson, I love this story, or not really story, or just I love that he has positive vibes. He's always energizing the players out there on the court. He's a motivator. He's literally like a motivational speaker for the New York Knicks. He loves his teammates, and I love that. He's a great supporter in all this, and he really puts the team all together that has great chemistry. And when I think of chemistry, I think of Pinson. But if we bring back a energy type of guy or a leadership type of guy like Taj, will we bring back Pinson? Because like all jokes aside, like I'm not even joking here, like Pinson doesn't play. But obviously, if we bring him back on like some very cheap deal, I wouldn't mind it at all, because that shows that the Knicks care about chemistry and they care about keeping the players happy. But there's not much to talk about here. He just brings some really great leadership to the New York Knicks coming out of North Carolina. Now moving on to Alfred Payne, and I'm going to be as real as possible. Like, yes, a lot of Knicks fans, like we bashed Alfred Payne because he just wasn't great when it came to the starting spot. But no one was capable of playing the point guard position. Frank Ntilikina wasn't ready, still wasn't ready, can't put pressure on the defense. As much as we don't like Alfred Payne, he may not, finish at the basket, but at least he puts pressure on the defense. Like Emmanuel Quickly, very lost as a point guard as well. He has ways to go, really learning how to read the floor and just really shooting really early in the shot clock. As much as we don't like Alfred Payne, as much as he's not a good shooter, not the best of finisher, he still played aggressive. He still worked his you-know-what off on defense. You got to respect that. But yes, he's not the point guard moving forward, and I do not think Alfred Payne is going to be here next season. Now moving on to Nerlens Noel, and this is a very tricky one because I really do appreciate what Nerlens Noel did. I love that clutch block on Finney Smith in that Mavericks game that Julius Randle had over 40 points. Nerlens Noel brought so much energy to this New York Knicks team, and I don't think he's going to demand a big-time type of contract. I do think teams are going to have common sense and be like, he literally brings nothing offensively. But I would not mind if we don't bring back Nerlens Noel, because I do think we need more pop of offense at the center spot. We need more of a balanced big coming off the bench, because Mitchell Robinson's not someone that's going to average 14 points per game plus. He doesn't provide a lot of offense. So I definitely do think we need more pop when it comes to the center position, in my opinion, offensively. Just Nerlens Noel, I like his energy. If we could bring him back very cheap, I don't think he would want a third string center spot, in my opinion, but I do appreciate that he was all business out there on the court. He competed hard. This dude's not afraid to get dunked on at all, and I respect that. In today's NBA, it seems like everyone gets out of the way, but I do think we need at least a decent offensive player when it comes to center. He could play defense, but he is solid offensively as well. At least has some type of hook shot in his arsenal that is good enough to produce. But he definitely did overachieve when it came to the contract we gave him, only giving him a 1-year contract. Same thing with Alec Burks, and he ended up being a big-time security blanket when Mitchell Robinson went down. But let me know down below in the comments section, who would you bring back? I appreciate the great amount of support, and as always, guys, have a humble day or night. Peace out, y'all.